What is good, Tesla family? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla SPY and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to talk about some very important factors involving Tesla's deliveries for tomorrow, what's going to likely cause for Teslas. We're going to see some massive volatility, not to mention Jerome Powell giving a speech. But before I break the details information, before I get into any more details for Tesla and the markets, and talk about some very important charts and data for China, Europe, and beyond, let me just mention a couple of things. I am personally not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please smash the like button if you want to see more videos like this. It not only benefits me, it benefits the entire Tesla community as a whole. Anyways, Tesla was up 6% for the day, holding up very nicely, almost hitting 210 a share, and continuing to rocket very hard. Overall, the chart is looking very bullish from a technical standpoint, and I see two main possibilities so far. The first one could be that Tesla may either get a rug pull, come back down and retest some of these key EMAs before it continues higher later on into the month and continues to break these highs. Or it might just break the highs from here, not get much of a dip because we're going to see some very strong numbers. So whether Tesla continues to rocket or if Tesla gets a temporary rug pull before it rockets later on again, it's going to depend a lot on what happens with their deliveries. And that's going to be coming out tomorrow at a very important time. So when are deliveries coming out? As of right now, the expectation is going to be for the Q2 2024 production delivery numbers on Tuesday, July 2nd. That's going to be tomorrow between 8:30 a.m. and 9 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's been consistently released on the second day of the month for the last few years, and this is going to be very important for Tesla. I'm very excited for this. I can't wait to see what Tesla announces, and the numbers are going to be super important for the share price and the views of many different investors. Now, I want to note that right now, the inventory levels for Tesla are a little bit high. I would like these to be a little bit lower, but this could be very offset by like previous inventories and also because of production. So we don't know for sure if this implies that sales are not as strong. This is the global total sales right over here. This is actually making up the total inventory levels that are taking over for this. And I'm a little bit concerned. I really would have liked to see this be a lot lower, which would give me a lot more confidence that the sales were much stronger. But I don't know for sure. We'll see what happens tomorrow, looking at how things could look for their numbers. So some good news that came out is the fact that Tesla China is saying that sales hit a new high in June. That's some very bullish news. In order for that to happen, we basically need about 18,800 sales for the final week of June, which would be very strong for Tesla. And that would help them show some very strong numbers. Now, that would be very bullish if that were to be the case for them. And that's what a lot of these Tesla bulls are implying. Not to mention Tesla China is implying a new high is coming. We don't have the official numbers just yet. I can't say what the numbers are going to be. I'd rather just wait for their deliveries report just to get that information. On top of all of this, I just want to note that the Chinese sales were not that strong, at least so far for the quarter. We had about 17,500 at least during the last week. So we need a very strong push for this final week. If you look at the total sales, at least for the quarter, looking at the first 12 weeks, the final week needs to be stronger to help offset this weakness. We're still technically below the Q2 2023 and also Q4 of 2023 levels. So we needed a very strong final week for Tesla. We're also hoping we get a very strong final week for this to help offset all of this. A new record would be very useful for Tesla as well. So I can't wait to see what the numbers end up looking like. One thing I want to note is that NIO is another company that announced their Chinese sales, and they absolutely crushed it. Their Chinese sales are actually up about 98.1% year over year. That's the total June sales, and their quarterly sales are up like crazy. So this is a good sign that maybe the Chinese demand is still there, and Tesla's about to break their record. So this is more optimistic data. This does suggest that things could be a lot better for Tesla as well. Now, one other thing that's worth noting is that European sales are kind of so-so. Some things are very strong if you look at countries like the Netherlands and Austria, but other countries like Germany are showing some signs of declines, especially for like May. And this is happening because of high interest rates and other factors like that. So we will see how things go in Europe. That's going to be another big factor, at least for Tesla. So Troy Tesla, who's an analyst I tend to follow, they basically are estimating 423,000 deliveries for Tesla in total. That's going to be for Q2 of 2024. The analyst consensus is about 441,000. This is actually below estimates, so we'll see how Tesla does. They do tend to be accurate with about a 3% error as usual, or at least they aim for less than that. So we will have to wait and see. I mean, I can't say anything with 100% certainty. We just have to wait and see how things go. But this, in my opinion, is a very interesting estimate. Now, Troy also mentioned that he's assuming that about 14,000 sales for the final week for Tesla in China. But this report right here is suggesting that, right here, we have a new high. So they may have done about 18,000. So maybe, just maybe, if you were to take his numbers and you add the extra like 4 or 5,000 sales in China, we could actually get something closer to 430,000 instead. So if I were to take a guess, I would say that maybe around 430,000 is very realistic. Tesla may do something around there, but who knows? I personally don't know for sure how the share price would react to that. Is it still below expectations? So we'll just have to wait and see how things end up going. But if I were to take a guess, I would say closer to like 428 to 430,000 seems a lot more reasonable. But who knows, guys? We'll just have to wait and see. So as a reminder, tomorrow the deliveries data comes out in the morning, and then simultaneously we have something else very big for the overall market. Tomorrow is going to be Tuesday, July 2nd, 2024. As the market opens, we have Jerome Powell giving a speech, and when the guy opens his mouth, the market's going to move like crazy. Why? Because the market uses him as an excuse, as a reason to move liquidity around, to really screw over people and do all sorts of things. So sometimes you'll notice that the market like pumps when Jerome Powell says hawkish things or he says things that don't make sense. Sometimes the market dumps for no reason. So it could be very, very crazy when Jerome Powell gives his speeches. So I would say that tomorrow morning is going to be very, very wild. Then after that, at 10 o'clock a.m., we have the JOLTS job openings and job quits. That's going to be very important as well. This may cause some volatility, so we'll have to see how things end up going. On top of all of this, as far as our data goes, we don't really have much for earnings for the week. Everything's very minor because of the fact that we have a holiday coming up. As a reminder, guys, I want to remind you guys that for July 4th, the market's going to be closed completely because of Independence Day here in the US. It's the 4th of July. And then for Wednesday, July 3rd, the market's going to be closing early at 1 p.m. So keep that in the back of your mind. Don't panic if the market closes early. This means that tomorrow, it's going to be the last full trading day until Friday. And let me explain. Tomorrow, the market will be open for the full day as normal. For Wednesday, the market is going to be open for only half a day. It's going to close early at 1 p.m. For Thursday, June 4th, Thursday, July 4th, the market is going to be closed completely. And then Friday, we go back to normal and the market will open up as it usually does. So we have a very, very short trading week for the week. It's going to be very interesting. Can't wait to see how things are affected. Just a few more things before I talk about the charts. Right now, the market is neutral because we saw a lot more buyers stepping in. The market was fearful, but now buyers are kind of offsetting that. We're still very greedy in terms of our momentum because we're seeing us holding up very well above the 125 daily moving average. The puts and call option position is also at extreme greed. This is also not looking too bad. And volatility is also neutral, kind of in the middle thus far. So that's something else that's worth noting. When it comes to other factors, I just wanted to mention that Stifel is giving Tesla a buy rating, at least thus far. Not bad whatsoever. The price price ratio is going up because Tesla is gaining a lot of strength. The share price looks bullish overall from a technical standpoint. And then Tuesdays are historically green about 52% of the time. None of this data really matters as much, though. It really depends on deliveries. So that's what we're going to be waiting for. That's going to be the next major catalyst. One great thing is the fact that, we have 135 million in volume. That's almost twice what we normally get. That is bullish for Tesla. We're seeing a lot of buyers, lots of volume coming into the stock. So that's pretty much it, at least for my analysis of data and such. Now I just want to focus on the technicals for Tesla and the market. So what do I see for all of this moving forward? What do I think is going to pan out? Honestly, guys, Tesla looks more bullish from a technical standpoint. Why do we look more bullish? We have a nice inverse head and shoulders. We have a breakout. It's holding up very, very well. But always remember the saying, buy the rumors, sell the news. So if Tesla's numbers are not too great, that could also cause a bit of a dip. So I'm personally in the middle. If we're bullish after deliveries, Tesla could easily run up to about 230. If we're bearish, Tesla could be dipping all the way down to 198 to retest this 20 EMA. If that fails us, we're going back down to 190. So there might be a big rug pull coming or a big pump. I don't know for sure. Honestly, guys, as a day trader, I don't always know what's going to happen. So I tend to play things safe sometimes. I tend to just step away for a bit and just wait and see how things go. Obviously, I'm a long-term investor in Tesla. I'm just referring to short-term trades. So for Tesla, we'll just have to wait and see what the big decision is, how deliveries look, and that's going to cause a big move. I'm in the middle for now, and we'll have to see what Jerome Powell causes as well. But just know we've pumped so hard approaching the event that makes me a little bit apprehensive, especially because inventories are a little bit high. So this could be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. I do lean a little bit more in that direction, but I honestly just don't know. So we just have to wait and see what the numbers look like. Lots of people are expecting weak numbers, so we'll see how they look for Tesla. For SPY, we're in the middle right now. If we end up losing 542.5 tomorrow, we're going to turn bearish. If we turn bullish, you want to see it basically break past 545.8 and eventually 547. So we did dip to 542 only to get bought back up. This chart favors, from a technical standpoint, the upside. The upside is looking more probable that we're going to likely get a push to 547 tomorrow, most likely. But this also depends on what Jerome Powell says. This could kind of resemble like a cup and handle like structure, but it depends on Jerome Powell. If he pumps the markets, we're going back up. If he gives us the rug pull, watch 542. If we lose that, we turn bearish. But this chart favors upside a bit more. By the way, for Tesla, guys, let me just note something. The medium term for Tesla looks very bullish nonetheless. It looks like Tesla will be flying into the 230s and higher levels later on. But we're going to see, do we temporarily get a rug pull back down to the 190s before we start bouncing back into the 200s? Or do we just go straight up to the 230s from here? Do we rug pull to 190 and then bounce later? Or do we just go straight up to 230 from here? That's what I'm going to be watching for, okay? I want to make that very clear. The chart is still bullish, even if we do get a little bit of a dip thanks to deliveries. I'm still bullish nonetheless. For Nvda has a little flag that's forming right over here. Right now, this is important because this could actually lead to a big shift. We're trying to push right here during the after hours, so I'll be watching to see if Nvidia makes a big move. If we break past 127, we're going to be looking for a bullish move. If we lose 122, we're going to be turning bearish. Overall, it does favor 127 plus, so it looks more bullish to me. I favor upside a bit more for this stock, but this depends if we get a big break thanks to Jerome Powell. So I'll be watching to see if that ends up being the case. For Bitcoin, we're testing 63,500. If we break this, I'm going to be looking for 64,000 and 64,600 to test our 200 EMA. It looks more bullish. Maybe we dip a bit and try to bounce. That looks a lot more probable to me to push higher, but this also depends on Jerome Powell, believe it or not. For the QQQ, we look more bullish. It looks like it wants to test 484 most likely from a technical standpoint. Obviously, technicals are not everything. It depends on Powell, but this does favor upside for 484. We will see if Jerome Powell causes that or not. If he rug pulls us, we're going to be looking for 477. If that fails, 473 is coming. But this chart favors upside a lot more. For 484 is a stronger possibility. For Apple's also holding up very, very well. I'm going to be looking at resistance at 217.6. If we break that, we're going to be looking for 220. If we lose 216, we're going to be dipping back down to 214 and 212. The chart looks more bullish. Look, it wants to go up to about 220, so we'll see if that ends up being the case. NIO got a nice break. If we break past 4.46, we're going to be looking for a push all the way up to about 4.69, so we'll see if that ends up being the case. For Palantir is looking more bullish to me from a technical standpoint. It looks like it wants to go up to about 26.2, if not 26.5. That's looking more probable to me. We will see if we end up getting a nice rally, though. We'll have to wait and see if that ends up being the case, as it depends on Powell, but the chart looks more bullish nonetheless. For Supermicro, I just want to call out that we look a little bit more bearish because we have a head and shoulders like structure and we're struggling to hold up. I think that we're going to be testing 800. If that fails us, we're going down to 780. And to be bullish, you want to see it bounce from here and actually break past 850. With the head and shoulders, the odds favor the downside as a stronger possibility, and 800 is looking a little bit more probable. So I favor downside on Supermicro as a stronger, more likely probability, but we will see what Jerome Powell causes. Despite that, the odds do favor downside for the chart. Rivian might retest 13.5. If we lose this, we're going down to 12.6. If we hold this, we're going to try to bounce. It looks to me like this is starting to downtrend a bit. It might actually start to dip lower. So I'll be watching for that very, very carefully. It looks a little bit more bearish to me. For SoFi has a little bit of a bearish cross in the PPO. I think it's going to be testing 6.3. If we test 6.3 and bounce, we're going back up to 6.5. If we lose 6.3, we're going to be dipping all the way down to 6.2. So this chart looks a little bit more bearish to me. We will see if this leads to a bearish move or not. So I'll be very, very patient in the process and just see how things end up developing. However, SoFi does favor 6.3. So look for a little bit of a dip and see if we bounce off that or not. That's what's looking a lot more probable from a technical standpoint. We'll see if Jerome Powell favors that or not. So I'll be very patient. The IWM Russell 2000 has upside potential for the medium term, but for the short term, it's looking a little bit weak after this big red bar. If we reclaim 201.4, we're going to be looking for 202. If we fail to do that, we're going to be dipping all the way down to about 199. This chart favors 199 as a stronger possibility. So we will see. That does look more probable from a technical standpoint, but we'll see what Jerome Powell ends up causing. For AMD, we have kind of like a nice double top like structure. It looks to me like it's going to consolidate around 156. So I see a little bit of a dip coming, then some consolidation. If we lose that, we're going all the way down to about 153. So a double top is looking a little bit more bearish. If we break past 160, we could turn back to bullish, but this chart is looking kind of weak to me, and I do favor the downside a bit more. For ARM, I see a test of about 157.5. If we lose that, we're going to dip all the way down to about 152. If we hold this, we're going to be looking for a nice bounce. This chart favors the downside a little bit more, in my personal opinion, from a technical standpoint. For Coinbase is trying to uptrend right over here. If we manage to break past this high, I'm going to be looking for 240 as resistance as a strong target. That looks more probable to me if we manage to hold above 230. If we lose 230, we're going to be dipping back down to 228 to fill this gap down here. This chart favors 240 as a stronger possibility. For Amazon, if Amazon pushes higher, I'm going to be looking for 198. If that breaks, we're going to be looking for 200. If we reject off 198, we're going to be coming back down to 194. This chart favors upside. It looks like it wants to go up to 200 to fill this imbalance. Amazon is looking more bullish to me. Will Jerome Powell favor that? Will he cause this to push more? We will see, but technicals do favor upside. Meta is kind of in the middle on a bit of a downtrend. It does look like it wants to retest our support, but we have to hold 504. So I see a test of 504 coming. If we don't hold it, we're going back down to 500, then 498. If we do hold it, we could be bouncing up to 508. This has a little bit of a downtrend, so we'll see how things go. So I'm going to be very patient nonetheless. For Microsoft, the 4 hour is looking more bullish. I could be looking for a push for 458 and eventually 460. If we lose support, we're going to be dipping back down to 454 and then lower levels. But this looks very bullish. It looks like Microsoft wants to go up to 460. I favor the upside a bit more just looking at the chart. For Google, we're just shuffling right here. As long as we hold above 184, we do favor upside a bit more for 186. If it loses, we could be dipping, but this favors 186 as a stronger possibility. For GameStop, we dip down to 23. If we hold this, look for 24, then 25.17. If we lose this, we're going to be dipping much lower down to 20. So we have to hold this support at 23. I think it might try to bounce off here just to be safe. For AMC, we're going to be testing 5 as resistance. If we reject here, we're going to be dipping all the way down to 4.8. If we break this, we're going to be pushing all the way back up to about 5.2. Overall, it's looking more bullish. For DJT, we're looking a little bit more bearish. We got a rejection off our 200 EMA. If we continue to fall and we end up losing 31, I'm going to be looking for a dip all the way down towards this gap fill for 27. If not, we could just kind of like consolidate right here as we like to see the support. So I favor some sideways price action as a stronger possibility. The VIX is looking kind of weak right here. I'm going to be looking at 12 as a key support. If we lose that, I'm going to be looking for about 11.5. If we bounce, I'm going to be looking at 12.64 as resistance. If that breaks, we push higher. Overall, the VIX is looking kind of weak, so it does favor the market trying to push higher. There's no sign of a breakout above our 200 EMA just yet on the VIX, so it's not really giving us the confirmation for a big rug pull in the market or not. The 10-year is going to make a big year depending on what Jerome Powell says, so I'll be waiting for that. We have a big gap to fill below, so if he does cause this to get rug pulled, this could actually help the market pump. DJT, if this, not DJT, the dollar index, this looks like it might try to pop for 106. Maybe the market kind of like dips a teeny bit. And if we get a big rejection thanks to Powell, this could cause a big rally. If we break 106, we could try to push higher. As of right now, we're in the middle, kind of consolidating around there and kind of rejecting. So I'm seeing some weakness on the dollar, which could suggest upside for the markets. With that said and done, guys, that is my analysis for the overall market. Obviously, I'm not a fortune teller. I don't know what Jerome Powell is going to say. I'm not 100% certain about everything. So that's why I can't give you guys 100% certain answers about what's more probable. But I can tell you that technicals are the thing that suggests more upside for most stocks out there. Obviously, technicals are not sufficient, but they do give us somewhat of a hint of what could play out for tomorrow. So in Tesla's case, just know the share price is bullish nonetheless. Could we dip temporarily because of deliveries? Yes, we can. Even if we dip to 190, it's going to be fine. As long as we're above 180, Tesla could still rebound and start to rally back up again. So I will see what happens with deliveries. If we get a rug pull thanks to Jerome Powell and also because of deliveries, Tesla could be retesting the 190s. Okay, that's going to be a-okay because it could still bounce later and start to rally and continue to push because of our structure, which is still very bullish. However, if we don't even get the rug pull, we could just go straight up to 230 plus and start to rally really hard. It depends on deliveries, so we just have to wait and see. Some data sources are showing that Chinese sales are looking stronger, but Chinese sales are not everything. They may only be about 4,000 units stronger than what we're kind of like seeing. So I don't know for sure. But what else is going to matter will be the European sales and such. We're seeing some mixed European sales data, and Chinese sales data is like all over the place too. Some things suggest it's stronger. So I would say that, like I said before, my estimate's around like 428,000 to 430,000. I don't know for sure what it's going to be, but I think that's the most reasonable target. And then we'll see what Tesla does from there. If Tesla comes short, look for some downside. If Tesla ends up crushing expectations of 440,000, we could be looking for a big move. I will wait and see and be very patient nonetheless. All right. So patience is a virtue, guys. Be very, very patient with Tesla. Give it the time it needs. As day traders, we don't have to predict everything right. We just have to wait and see sometimes. And patience is a very, very important and when it comes to trading and many other lessons in life. So we'll be ready, guys. One thing to remember is that when the data comes out tomorrow, it doesn't always come out on time. Sometimes it's a little bit late. Sometimes it could be like 30 minutes late. Sometimes it's a little bit late. So we just have to wait and see. And I'm gonna either upload a video before the market opens tomorrow to give you guys the update if the numbers are out. If the numbers are not out, I'll just give you guys a warning that the numbers aren't out yet, and I'll give you guys like some heads up once I see the numbers. And that's going to cause a very, very big reaction for Tesla. So I can't wait to see. Anyways, I'll see you guys tomorrow before the market opens. Have an absolutely spectacular rest of the day. Remain calm, cool, and collected. Tesla to the moon because the long term is still incredibly bright despite what we see for tomorrow. And regardless of that, and with that being said, take care, everyone, and peace out.